All right, it's been over 8 months since my previous upload, the one that launched me into the public eye, my 1 hour long video regarding the IB program and my first year. And now, over half a year later, I am back in fewer pixels than ever. But I believe patience should be rewarded. And whenever I go outside, all my fans on the street, they ask me, when is part two? Where is part two? We've been waiting for part two. And so here it is, part two. So, it is April 9th, 2023. Firstly, I would like to apologize for the mock exam series which I had to cancel. I simply wasn't taking those exams seriously enough and it was not worth the effort. But what is happening? So, I am basically done with IB Year 2 and it has been an interesting experience. And I'll go through the various stages of it and my thoughts on them. This will be a very unstructured video like the first one because I believe in sticking to roots. But I will begin. I wrote a very brief outline like a couple seconds before starting the recording. I'll talk about IAs, ECAS, TOK, classes in general, uh, mock exams, real exams. Yeah. All right. So, um, oh, how should I organize this? Maybe I should add predictions as well. I don't know if I touched upon that in the first video. Anyways, so IAs. Um, Rather, maybe I should start off by talking a bit more generally. So, over the summer, I was having fun, and then one day I contract the coronavirus infectious disease, and then I have to stay home for 2 weeks. And then after that, for nearly all of August, nearly, okay, more or less, I worked on my computer science IA and a bit on my math IA. So I walk into school, and I'm pretty happy with my progress. Um, First of all, rather, I should point out, I walk into school, and my math teacher, pew pew pew, shoots down my IA, and I had basically written the whole draft. Bam, 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 gone. So that was basically the third IA topic I had. I cycled through a lot of IA topics. Oh, I should also talk about. I did quite a lot of work on my extended essay over the summer as well. But anyways, math IA is at 80% when I walk in the first day. When I get back on the bus to go back home, it's at zero. Anyways, computer science IA. I spent so much time on this overall, and in the summer, I walk into school and like I was so proud the first day. I was showing it to everyone. No one had anything. I was like, oh, here's my thing. It's a fully functioning program, and it was good. But then one day in October, um, the teacher basically said, "It's not good enough." Oh no! I hope that you can also feel the pain I'm feeling right now. Yeah, I had to sit back, I had to go back to the drawing boards and add more stuff to my program. That was a pain. So, I'm being too specific. Let's start with the computer science IA. The computer science IA is basically a program that you have to code yourself that has to be functioning. Um, no, how do I want to do this? Because the deadline for that was relatively late. Okay, the math IA. So, it is early September, and my math IA has been shot down once more. This isn't the first time that this has happened. What do you do? What would you do in my shoes? Well, I got a bit lucky because I was going on Stack Exchange and I found a Turkish user called Kemal Konuk. Thank you, Kemal Konuk, so much for everything you did. And this guy had a fantastic post with basically no traction. He used a very weird theorem to make a crazy result. If anyone's wondering, it's the Basel problem. He found an alternative solution for that. And I saw that. Eventually, I understood it. But then I sort of took the methodology and extended it to the next step. And to my surprise, it worked. That was very cool, very cool, very cool. And then it worked again, and so I could generalize. And so I was very lucky because I found a perfect topic. Even though if anyone is watching, I would highly recommend that to do a math IA, you just go to a international math Olympiad problem, find a hard one, a manageable one, but a tough one, and then just solve it. And of course, present the solution as your own. Anyways, and so my math IA was a very last minute in a way because I changed topics so many times, and in the end, this was what I went for. It worked. It was very nice. Of all my IAs, I am by far the proudest of my math IA because it's actually a creative and original result. The math IA was due relatively early in the year, which brings me to the other IA that was due really early. I think this was due on the 1st of November. Sorry, no, 1st of December. The physics IA. The physics IA was interesting as a process because I left school at the end of the year one with no experiment, and the teacher told me that we would do it over the summer. But then one thing happens, another thing happens, it never happens, and then I get COVID, and so the experiment for the physics IA has to wait. The lighting sucks. Now I can't. Oh God, I really can't see. Anyways, um, oh yeah, physics IA. So I did my experiment. No, we had talked about an idea from the first year, and it was a very sketchy idea. Not sketchy, but it was just a very conceptual idea. It was about the weight attached to a string and how that impacts the fundamental frequency of a string. Interesting, but kind of boring. Pretty boring, actually. Um, yeah, I did that at the very start of the school year. I remember I walked in to do my IA, and I had literally researched what I was doing the morning before. Like a couple hours before, I was like, "Oh, what am I doing?" But I found the equation. Um, I go there. I did my experiment. The first trial was pretty good, but then it took too long, and so the second trial was done like in a quarter of the time. So the data quality obviously deteriorated a bit. Anyways, um, firstly, what's really dumb about the physics IA, I don't know why they have this. This is so stupid. But there's a hard limit of 12 pages. You cannot have a 13th page no matter what. At least that's what the teacher told us, and he's the one grading, so 12 pages, including the cover page, table of contents, appendices, bibliography, conclusion, blah, 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 blah. You get the point. So dumb, so dumb. Anyways, I do my physics IA. It was pretty straightforward. I know my math IA was good. My teacher told me. I do not know how my physics IA was, but I think it was also pretty good. I spent quite a bit of time. It was on LaTeX, so fancy. Uh, how do I feel about it in general? I'm not sure because it was very simple. I did an experiment. I collected data for two variables, and then I plugged them into an equation. I compared the experimental things versus the actual things. Not much substance to it, unlike the math IA, which I'll get to later regarding the shortcomings of the physics course compared to the math course. Um, so that was physics. What else? I've done four others. It's so nice to be able to say that I'm actually done with it. Anyways, after that, let's go to compute. No, uh, not Spanish, not English, computer science or English. English, HLS. We'll talk about that later. Uh, let's think. Is it computer science? What's computer science next? Business. Oh, business. Okay. So, um, this may have been my worst IA. I think it wasn't like a 5 bad, maybe like low 6 bad, hopefully higher. But one one week before the deadline, I pull an all-nighter and restart my business IA. I had a full draft already, but it was a full draft that I submitted just to say I have something. It wasn't qualitative. I didn't like it. Um, I switched from Patagonia to Amazon Web Services, and the problem was that Patagonia had absolutely no financial data available. It was all like Oh, tree hugging. Wow, we love the environment. Whereas Amazon Web Services obviously had a lot more solid numbers, and so I had to switch to that. Yeah, it was last week. It was a bit of a cram. Not much more to say. It was. I'm not sure. Um, it was an interesting IA, but a mess also doesn't. So it counts for more actually. A mess also accounts for more, which is kind of scary. My supporting source documents were good, but I was bluffing. I wasn't really taking anything from them. I just highlighted things randomly. It was interesting. I Yeah, I really don't know. The other IAs I have faith in. This one, no, not really. But I think it was a pretty good IA for the course. The HL one seems more interesting, but also more time consuming. Anyways, on myself. I should have mentioned that, but I am assuming that you, the faithful viewer, have already watched the first part. Then computer science. So the IAs, what is their purpose really? I don't know. And the computer science IA is so annoying, so crude, so peculiar, so awkward to work on, so time consuming, so boring. With all due respect, first of all, um, I spent so much time on this, and I'm probably still not gonna get like the high scores. I spent so much time on this that it's sad. Um, I uh, I basically crammed it. The No, sorry, I finished my program. I finished 80% of my program over the summer. The next 20% was done over the course of October and November and December. Criterion A and Criterion B I had basically done in the summer. Um, Criterion C was a pain, but I sat down for like 12 hours and unironically 12 hours and I finished it. Um, yeah, in the end, I am not sure how to feel about it, but I'm very happy it's done. It was, to be honest, pretty easy if you do it correctly, if you do it fairly, because you could just bluff a program and do all the criteria and be done like much faster than I was. But then there's the risk that they will check. Yeah, can't complain. I cannot complain now because I'm done with it. But oh, that was a terrible process, the computer science IA. What's next? Okay, now we're getting to the languages. Spanish. So the Spanish internal assessment is an oral. Uh, I am good at speaking. Maybe not speaking, but I'm good at like bluffing, like improvising a speech. And in Spanish, I'm pretty good at speaking, but my big problem is that I do not know much grammar. I don't know any past tense, but um, I remember this. So we had a project, and it was about some what am I saying? It was about some cultural item in like a Spanish-speaking country. I had the piñata, and my teacher gave it to me for my IA as well. And thankfully, I spent very little time on the piñata, but it was in computer science. It was a block before. But I learned about the piñata. I presented it to the class, and then she gave me the topic again for my oral. I basically said what I knew, blah, 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 and it went swimmingly, fantastically, great, great. I cannot complain. I don't know. I did very little studying. I should have studied more, but I didn't. I walked in, hope and prayer paid off. Um, and there isn't much more to say about that because it was just an oral. It was very weird because I should really invest more time into Spanish, especially for the exams. But they're my last exam, so kind of low priority. So what other IAs are left? English. Okay, English is a pretty interesting one. I will count the higher level essay. First of all, no. Can I make the chair go up? Oh, let's go. Okay, so English. Wow, professional. Uh, I will count the higher level essays in IA, even though it's not really an IA. It's assessed. It's assessed externally, but I'll count it because it's done in the IA time frame. Where do I start with this? So I have practically no, not practically. I've never had a tutor for a school subject other than for English at the start of this year. And I started off my higher level essay very early on. Like on the third day of classes, I went up to my teacher and I said, "Hey yo, I like this. I like this topic. Can I do this?" Um, and he was like, "Yeah, sure." And so a conflict started where I would I started doing work and everything I showed my tutor was thrown out immediately. She hated all of it, all of it. She hated it. Um, and then the day before the deadline for the higher level essay draft one, oh, I should mention, I was doing Malcolm X, the movie, in 1992, directed by Spike Lee, along with, and my what was it? My field of inquiry, sorry, my line of inquiry was about identity, religion, and religious faith. So the night before the deadline for the first draft, I go to my document, I do Control A, backspace, and I restart by writing about the Lion King, and it was garbage. It was garbage. And and the teacher told me this is garbage, and so I have to go back to my topic. Blah blah blah. It was a disaster. For about a month, I basically had no progress on my higher level essay. Even though I had a head start, I ended up being behind everyone because of my tutor. She was really pulling me back, and then I stopped with her, and then I just did it on my own, and that really helped me. Thank God. Um, it was a disaster. What helped me is that I would like watch scenes in the movie and then write like a small paragraph on them. And in the end, all I had to do to write it is pretty much go to like the five documents, copy one paragraph, copy the other paragraph, copy the third paragraph, and then write an introduction and conclusion. And that was my first draft. I gave it, I got feedback, I changed some stuff. In the end, for a 1,500 word essay, I invested a lot more time than I should have because I was really held back. It was so annoying. I was held back. I was. It was not a pleasant process, and I ended up writing a lot more words than I had to. But I'm glad I did. No, not glad I did, but they helped me in the long run. But I was really sabotaged. This caused me not stress, but this was on my to-do list for too long because I started in like early October or sorry, like mid-September, and I only could submit like by February. When I think at least this might be a bit pretentious, but if I disregard what the tutor said, when she did delay me for like 2 months, I could have finished a lot earlier. But in the end, I have a nice essay. I think I like it. It's a nice product, and to be honest, it's not that hard. And I will talk more about this in the IB English part that'll come up soon. Um, yeah, it's basically 1,500 words. 300 are introduction and conclusion, then 1,200. You literally pick three scenes and then just analyze aesthetic choice, aesthetic choice, aesthetic choice, aesthetic choice. More, more, more. You get the point. Yeah. And this brings us to the last IA, which is the English oral, which is also the most recent one and theoretically could have been the worst one. Um, I am lucky because the one time I have ever taken notes in English class in my life was at the start of this year in September, and I took some notes on some Maya Angelou poems. And my IA, my oral, was basically why did the lighting break again? And my IA was basically that and some stuff about Michelle Obama. Um, it was on Thursday. I started on Sunday. I sat right here And on physical paper, I just wrote out a script. I wrote a script. I started writing it. I wrote introduction, zoom out for what's her name? Sorry, zoom out for Maya Angelou, zoom in for Maya Angelou, zoom out Michelle Obama, zoom in Michelle Obama, blah blah. The last sections of the poem about Michelle Obama were written like 2 days before, one day before. It was very crammed. The conclusion, um, there was no conclusion. It was kind of improvised, but it worked. My English IA went swimmingly. It was crazy. It went really well. Yeah, I cannot complain. I learned my speech. What I did is that I basically sat here. I had a timer in front of me. I had my script. I didn't read it, but I just spoke. And I learned the ideas, the key concepts from my script. I would just say them over and over again. I learned the order. Basically, there's this aesthetic choice, which has this meaning, and then I speak about this, which connects back to this, blah, 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 and so on. And so the English oral, like the vicious dragon it is, was also slain. Like, bam! Wow. Crazy imagery. So, I'll be very surprised if anyone is still watching, but I will now take a 30-second water break. I am back, bringing you the quality content you deserve because at this channel, production quality is the name of the game. So, where was I? We talked about the IAs. Extended essay. Uh, First of all, the college I want to go to, the one after Stanford, they rejected me, which you, the faithful subscriber, already know because you've seen my previous videos. The college I want to go to right now does not care about the 3 extra points. So my extended essay is basically irrelevant to me as long as I get my IB diploma. Regardless, over the summer, my research was pretty much done. Um, my first draft was done in the start of November. It was kind of mid. My final draft was crammed. It was also kind of mid. Doesn't matter. I think it's a solid extended essay. I would say it's solid. That's the adjective I would use to describe it. It's not very ambitious. I prefer my math IA topic, but yeah, I cannot complain. It was relatively painless. Um, my topic was a bit too simple, and perhaps, no, not perhaps, that will probably work against me. But uh, actually, as a person, I would say that I prefer making a very quick and good decision rather than waiting for a very long time to find the best decision. Perhaps with the extended essay, this was not a good train of thought to follow because it's a very long-term process and I should have worked on finding a better topic. Maybe not a better topic because I did like my topic, but maybe not for an extended essay. And so, yeah, I did my research over the summer. I have my notes ready. Writing the first draft was relatively painless. Oh, this was also done in LaTeX, and so it was actually not that painless. The formatting was very, very painful, but the actual content was pretty straightforward. I wrote it, then I rewrote it to my final draft. It's not the greatest, but it's a solid B. I think it's solid. I see nothing wrong with it. My TOK essay, oh my god, TOK is so stupid. I will rant about that later. But my TOK essay was also pretty good. Actually, for the first 2 months in TOK class, I did nothing. And then one day, me and this other guy, we decided to do some work. So we promised that we would not stop typing until the block ended, and so that's how I spit out 1,200 words. They were pretty bad, but they had some nice ideas with some refinement. With some refinement, with some hard work, with a lot of consultation with Mr. Januzzi. Thank you so much, Mr. Januzzi. Those 1,200 crappy words turned into 1,600 crappy words, and that was it. I think I have a chance to get an A in TOK. Of course, I don't know, but I feel like my essay is solid. At the same time, I hope it's not lower than a C. That'd be kind of weird. Doesn't really matter. My college really doesn't care about that. Not really entirely. But I would like to get a or a B in TOK. I would like to get at least structure points. Come on. Who doesn't? The TOK essay. Please use ChatGPT. ChatGPT, its writing is crap, but oh yeah, and Coolbot. ChatGPT can give you the weirdest ideas ever. And it's good, trust me, trust me, trust me. It's good, it gives you some weird ideas, you can reformat them. And then, in my opinion at least, a big part of the TOK essay is impressing the reader. Because at the end of the day, it's all a bluff. There is basically no actual substance in your essay. And so, how do you make the reader impressed? Fancy words. And so, I recommend that when you're done with your essay, you take it all into Quillbot and you improve the reading quality of your essay. You ensure that it uses fancy words, because let's be honest here, you're not going to come up with any world revolutionizing thoughts in this essay. Actually, I am pretty proud of my TOK essay because it was about to what extent is replicability necessary in the production of knowledge? Discussed with reference to 2 areas of knowledge. And so the first one is obviously science, natural sciences. And my second one was the arts. And the angle I saw a lot of people taking was like replication of knowledge, as in like physically replicating an artwork. And that's kind of lame. Or sorry, what a lot of people went for is talking about the human sciences as their second area of knowledge, and talking about psychology and how replicability is not as necessary in psychology, and it was kind of boring, with all due respect. So what I tried to write is replicability necessary in terms of art, in terms of the knowledge you extract? For example, you look at a painting, and you come up with a specific interpretation here, but the artist comes up with a different interpretation. So you're here. For your knowledge to be valid, does it have to match exactly with this guy's? Is the purpose of art for these not to match, or is the purpose necessarily for these to match? I don't know the answer, it's a very complex question, but yeah, that's basically my second part. I hope that I think it's a pretty nice and advanced thought, and if the examiner truly likes it, maybe I'll get an A, hopefully, hope and prayer. Cass, don't worry. Um, I'll talk more about like my thoughts on these later, but I'm outlining my work this year really briefly. And so Cass, it's all a bluff. Come on. I wrote it like I actually wrote I had done my 4th casting by February last year. And so I was advanced with Cass, and then I wrote my 5th and 6th at some point. Really, it's all very dumb. Learning outcomes. I'll get to that later, but it's very stupid. I did my 6th one like a couple minutes before my presentation. For my presentation, actually, it was done the block before. I went into my reflections. I copied them. I think. Am I gonna get into trouble for saying this? Hopefully not. Then I went to ChatGPT and I said, summarize this in 100 words. It did. I copied the summary and I put it into a slideshow. It was terrible, but you know, it got the job done. I got the tick mark and we move on. So, um, mm, actually, yeah, okay. The big rant will come at the end of this. With regards to actual content, um, I guess I'll start with, should I go from favorite to least favorite? Yes, okay, I'll do that. Then I'll talk about exams and preparing for exams. So, my least favorite IB class, and this is nothing against the teacher, just there's some subjects are structured in a very dumb manner. Let me think. Uh, what is the dumbest class? Is it computer science? It might be computer science. So, computer science. Okay. What is there not to hate about this course? I'm SL. I don't know if paper 3 is fun, but computer science. Computer science. So, the class is essentially a bunch of theory about computers that's pretty straightforward. That's the first part of paper 1. Then the second part is like pseudocode, which is basically thinking. That's pretty easy. And then paper 2 is Java. Paper 2, you have to write down code on paper. You have to write brackets as if you were coding on paper. If that's not a reason why the class should be the worst one, I don't know what else is. But the IA, the IA, oh god, the IA on its own brings so it's so bad. It's such a terrible experience. It's made in such a bad manner. I don't know what to say. It was a terrible experience doing that internal assessment, but yeah, I got over that, thankfully. But in general, the computer science course and AMESA, the first part is memorization, like memorizing what is a CPU, the machine code cycle, whatever thingy. I have to review that. Then it's just basic thinking, and then the paper 2 is pretty much basic Java. It's not that bad, but it's just for computer science, it feels like in a world where technology is becoming more and more important, the computer science course really shouldn't be this boring, bad. I don't know. What the right side of my face is so dark. Okay, let me try this. All right, we got the new lighting setup now. Anyway, it's so terrible. Who cares? Oh, I look into the lamp and now I can't see. So that is the worst of my classes. Now, realistically, all the rest aren't that bad. Um, I guess the next worst one would have to be, uh, let's see, um, English. So I started this year off really hating English, but I kind of learned the trick, and I think that, with all due respect, the way it's taught at ACS is kind of weird. I can't see. I'm sorry. Now you can't see either. The way top tier production quality, anyways. The way that English is taught at ACS is kind of weird, but for a class with no syllabus, it should not be this hard. Practically no syllabus. You know what I'm saying. The IO is such a stupid concept. A 10-minute speech. It's such a dumb concept. The HLSA, okay, yeah. Paper one is actually pretty fair, I think. Paper two is kind of dumb. Paper one's really fair, I think. I just don't really like the concept. I am biased, obviously, but I don't really see what I'm. I mean, I see that point, obviously, but it's just kind of weird. It's a very weird course. I think paper one is a great assessment. I think it's very fair. I think it's brutal, but very fair. I think it's fair. I am repeating myself over and over again, but the higher level essay is okay. I guess nothing wrong with it. The let's try this. Paper two. I actually, oh my god, you know what? I'm just gonna leave this here. Paper two is no more fidgeting. Paper two is weird. It's basically memorize an essay and then look at the prompts, cross your fingers, and hope that what you've memorized can match with one of the given prompts. But it's okay, I guess. I think it's pretty fair. The exams are okay. The IO is so stupid, but I think as a course, it's fine. It's my second lowest one, but it's way above computer science. Uh, and I am biased. All these rankings are biased, and I do like computer science as a topic, but as a subject, it's just so boring. Anyways, we have computer science, English, and now up here we have business, right above English. The problem with business is that I have no idea what I'm doing because there is such a massive syllabus, but the way it's examined is very technical, as in you have to know the structure that you have to write your responses in, and you'll be fine pretty much. Besides, you can do a lot of choosing in business. You don't have to know the whole syllabus to do well. But the math is easy, the math is straightforward. Section A, come on. But there are many definitions, many specific keywords you have to throw out here and there. It's kind of awkward, you know? And so, oh, the business IA is fine though. Nothing wrong with that, but it's so kind of weird as a course. Can't complain. Yeah. Next. So we have computer science, English, business. Right above business, we have um let me think. We would have let's see. I forgot all my classes. What the hell? We would have Spanish. Ab initio, by the way. Now the thing with Spanish is that it's the most average subject possible. It's perfectly average. You learn a language and then you're examined on it. There's nothing more to it, nothing less. The oral, I'm biased, but I like it. Um, yeah, kind of weird. You just go there, you speak. The exams are fine, I guess. The only problem is more of a institutional problem that if you know Spanish before, you just take Spanish ab initio and you get an easy 7. Anyways, that's I guess not the course's fault though. What can you do? That's pretty much it. Spanish is extremely average, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So we have, what do we have here? Computer science, business, no, computer science, English, business, Spanish, and now at the number 2 spot, which I think it's a good course overall, is physics. Now the problem with physics is that, first of all, the IA, the 12-page thing is so stupid. Why? Why have a strict 12 pages limit? Other than that, physics jumps all around a lot. And what I mean by this is that there are 8 SL topics, 4 more HL ones, and then 1 more option. So if you're HL like me, you have 13 in total. And the problem is that it's very conceptual. And some artist, who I won't name, but he knows who he is. Not, I love you by the way. But has dissed it as being too easy, as being like kinematics and like no advanced conceptual things like in art. And yeah, I guess it's more empirical than art, but okay, what he said is that, oh, you're in high school, the physics isn't that hard. It's not like quantum physics. And yeah, he's right, it's not. But because the syllabus tries to be comprehensive of many different fields in physics, we do have some quantum physics things when we don't actually understand anything. And it's basically learning a bit of kinematics, a bit of this, a bit of waves, a bit of electromagnetism, a bit of particle physics, a bit of this, when in reality, we don't truly have a base to go from A to B to C to D. And so, unlike the number one thing on this list, which I am very biased, but unlike the number one thing on this list, there are many answers and results in physics that you just have to accept. In IB physics, obviously, there are many like results that you just have to say, oh, okay, I don't truly understand this, but I'll accept it. I'll memorize this. For example, there was a multiple choice question saying, what is the, how much energy does electron tunneling take? I have no idea what electron tunneling really is, but thankfully, the night before, I was reading through the book, and in topic 12, there is one sentence saying, if an electron has very little energy, it may conduct electron tunneling. This takes up no energy. And it's one sentence, and I have no idea why this happens, but I read it, so I answered that question correctly. Very peculiar. But as a course, oh, something else is that it has the options. Option A, B, C, D, which is such a brain dead idea. I'm so glad that the new syllabus won't have that anymore. It's very stupid because in reality, every school can only afford to teach one of the 4 options. And the options aren't in the book, which is a pain. Yeah, we're doing astrophysics. I like it. It's pretty easy. Okay, now for the physics exams. Paper 2, I think is very fair. 2 hours, 15 minutes for HL. You just write, you answer the questions. I think paper 2 is very fair because it's always around the same level of difficulty. Paper 3, also very fair. To be honest, paper 3 is really easy, in my opinion. It's always roughly at this difficulty. But paper 1, the multiple choice paper, 1 hour for 40 multiple choice questions, is brutal because sometimes it's very easy, sometimes it's very hard, and there's nothing more to it. Sometimes the questions take 3 seconds. Sometimes the questions require you to know one specific sentence. Sometimes the questions take 2 minutes. Sometimes the questions require some crazy trick. Sometimes they require some crazy assumption. They're weird. And what I'm trying to say is that the paper 1 really fluctuates in terms of difficulty. And so because of that, it's kind of peculiar. But I do love physics as a subject and IB physics. I think it's pretty well organized, even though there are too many topics. 13 topics is way too much. And I will be comparing this to the number 1 item on the list, which is math. I love IB math, AAHL obviously. Anything else is very cowardly. I am joking. But we can each draw our own conclusions. AAHL is interesting because I find that unlike physics, it's a very, very, very solid course. And what was interesting is that while I was researching for my math IA, I could and still can understand many things in math. Now, obviously, it's obviously a high school math course, and in the like ocean of math, I know nothing. But I feel like AAHL is organized in a way that gives students a very comprehensive overview of math. I really like it. I think it's very interesting. And everything in AAHL can have a simple explanation because you can go because math is a subject you do for 12 years at school and you build up to a certain level and then you go from A, B, C, D. There's a solid progression. If there's something you don't understand, there's a train of logic that goes from here to here. Whereas in physics, if you don't understand something, you sometimes have to jump from here to here. And so for that reason, I would put math in the number one spot. Regarding the math IA, I think it's great. Only thing is, I would really, really recommend if you want to get it overdone quickly, find a good problem from either the PUTNAM, which is a hard math exam, or the IMO. Find a good problem and basically solve it. That's it. And or go to YouTube and find some random math problem. It's pretty easy to come up with a good idea, in my opinion. Maybe not a good idea, but like to come up with an idea. You may have to refine it. Can't complain. Um, I love math. I love the class. It's great. Not much more. Oh, paper. I love paper one. I love paper one. Paper one is an own calculator. Paper two is calculator. It's okay. Paper three might be one of the shortcomings of the math course because it is two long questions in 1 hour, and the time basically works out so that you must answer both questions. No, you cannot lose any time really. In the other exams, because they're 2 hour long, you could, for example, spend a bit longer on one question and be faster on the other question. In paper three, you cannot do that. And besides, another disadvantage is that there are not that many study resources for paper three. But I think it's a pretty fair examination because it's very easy to get marks in paper three because there are so many small parts. Anyways, in my opinion, math is my favorite of the IB courses. So, where does this leave us in this terrible, terrible, terrible video? um, let's see. Okay, exams. My exams are beginning in less than a month, and I have started studying. Okay, I think I should approach this through the context of my specific goals. I wanted to go to Stanford, but the rascals rejected me. Dun dun dun. And so, because of that, I will have to go there, hopefully, for graduate school. Please accept me. Anyways, I'll try, but I'll try to cross that bridge once I get to it. Uh, the other college I have applied to is ETH Zurich. ETH Zurich has very simple admission requirements. They want you to take certain IB classes and get a certain IB score. I am taking the particular classes they want me to. And now I have to get 38 out of 42. First leads out of 42, meaning the 3 extra points are irrelevant as long as I still get my diploma, so I need one of the 3, but not the other 3. So, where does this leave me? I have to basically get all points in the IB program except for 4. So, let's think. This means 2 7s and 4 6s, worst case scenario. I think I'll do that. My goal is to get a 7 in everything. I'll try, obviously, I'll study, but I'm pretty confident that I'll get a 7 in math, physics, I guess, Spanish, I don't know. In everything, all or nothing. Yeah, there isn't much to it. That's my goal for the exam. Study as much as possible for as many subjects as possible. But the problem you see, my dear viewer, is that I am very lazy and I am very good at procrastinating. Now, no, am I? No, maybe I'm not lazy, but I am good at getting things done. Is that egotistical? Basically, if I have a math paper in front of me, if I have a physics paper in front of me, I can do it. I can go through it one by one. Bam, 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 bam. At the same time. Because there's a very solid answer and a solid explanation that I can reach. If I'm studying for English, this is the no more lighting. Okay. If I'm studying for English, this is the paper 2 guide, by the way. It's so boring, and you never know if what you're saying is good or not. It's so boring. It's so boring. Oh, studying for business is even more boring. Um, and with that, I can now begin talking about my study schedule. Schedule. What schedule? Plan. So, math. I think I am fine at math. I think I can write the exam right now and expect to get a 7. I practice math every single day. I do a paper 1 or a paper 2. Really not much more to it. I think I know most of the syllabus. I do need to review some parts in topic 4, but I just do past papers. I have a massive folder. I should have maybe brought it to like show, but I have a massive folder with past papers. Because the math HL course is relatively new, I have been doing math HL exams as well. I have done 23 past paper 1 and paper 2s, and there are 27 more for me to do. Yeah, math won't take any more effort than that, I think. Every day I'll just do a past paper, and if there are any glaring holes, I'll try to fix them. Physics, similarly, physics, to be fair, I kind of neglected last year and this year. And so now I am catching up to a degree, but I'm fine. It's a very objective subject like math. I can just sit down and study. Paper 2, I'm not scared for. Paper 3, I'm not scared for. Paper 1, anything goes, but I'll do my best. I have printed out a bunch of past papers. Once again, I am very good at doing past papers, as in not actually like getting high scores on them, even though my scores are fine. I'm very good at printing out something and then doing it. But my problem with physics is that I have to start looking through the past papers I've done and finding out my weak points, which I kind of already know, and then studying those topics before doing more past papers. Yeah, I'll do that. I think. Hope and prayer. Computer science. I really want to 7 in computer science because it's such an easy course, but at the same time, studying for computer science is so unbelievably boring. It's so boring. I don't know what to say. I will start doing past papers, I guess, past paper 2s, and reading from the book. To be fair, I have not properly began with computer science, even though I have to. But it's an easy subject. But I do have to study. I do have to review a bunch of things. Oh, okay. What else? How much? Oh, English. Okay. Okay. I entered the second year of my IB voyage with a 5 in English. And I raised that up to a 6. Prediction. Obviously, my prediction doesn't matter, but I believe, I genuinely, and I think it's crazy that I cannot say this, I have a shot at getting a 7 in English. Paper 1, I need to practice. Okay, fair enough. But I think I got it. It's pretty straightforward. And I think that ultimately the difficulties come down to the way it's taught. It's kind of weird, but it's pretty straightforward. You see an unseen text, you understand it, and then you say why you understand it. Paper 2. Ooh. I need to write a master essay, like a perfect essay, and then memorize it, and then copy it over in the exams, I guess. Not much more to it. I have not truly began studying English. I have tried to start, but it's just so boring. Come on, it's so boring, but I have to. That is English. Business. Business, I am in business as well, and the good thing about business is that, as I mentioned before, everything is very compartmentalized. So, business management paper 2 section A, which are the numeric kind of questions, I excel at, I think. MS also, it's also easier. There are 5 things: break even, profit loss, balance sheet, what else? Break even, profit loss, balance sheet, ratio things, blah blah blah. It's pretty easy, and I can do those. I can study for those. I can print out a past paper and do it. But section B, 10-mark questions are a lot more boring. I have started studying for those though. And then paper 2, section C, Kujis. Somehow my mock exam Kujis was really good. It got 18 out of 20, I think. I will memorize that pretty much. I guess I will write some practice Kujis essays. It's so boring, but it's basically writing down a short introduction about your company and then spamming paragraphs about the 2 concepts in relation to the company, and just name dropping culture, organization, community, or whatever. Paper 1, I will study for, I guess. Cross my fingers. Not much more to it. Business is pretty easy. I do not know all the syllabus, but I'll review it, I guess. It's kind of weird because business has so much content, and I think I know most of it. Maybe even 90%, but you can really never know because I've never gone through the book properly. I might do that. Spanish is my final exam, and it's 1 week after my my second to last exam, and so I will not start studying for Spanish until the very end, pretty much. It's pretty easy, I think. It's pretty straightforward. I'll study paper 1. I will finally learn past tense in that one final week. Yeah. Uh, let's see. Have I gone through everything? Computer science, physics, math, Spanish, English, business. Okay, that's it. Um, Final thoughts. I think that the IB program has so many stupid components. It's kind of dumb. Um, I don't know. It's not easy, I guess, but it's also not the worst thing ever. People over exaggerate the difficulty and perhaps over dramatize it. Yeah. Uh, it's weird. TOK is a pain, even though I don't understand. We do 100 hours of TOK in year 1 and year 2, and all that TOK is good for is your TOK essay, and I guess your exhibition, or does that not count? 100 hours is a lot of time, and it's kind of sad. It's like a waste of time. Other dumb parts of the IB program, the Group 4 project. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. I can't even begin to describe it. It was so stupid. Yeah, a whole day, maybe not a whole day. Okay, a whole school day lost to the Group 4 project. CAS is one of the dumbest things ever conceived. Not much more to say. Um, IAs, very boring. No one likes them, let's be honest. Besides, most people just have their tutors writing it for them. It's a pain, it's annoying, it's useless, it's weird. And it creates an unnecessary level of tension where you're not focused on your exams and you can't study for your exams because you have to do your computer science IA, your business IA, your this IA, your that IA. Extended essay, similarly, kind of boring. Not boring, I guess. It's not needed. It's kind of dumb. I don't know though, because I am very good at complaining, but at the same time, I am not that good at coming up with solutions. Uh, Currently, I feel great because I am done with my um what am I done with? I am done with my IAs, EE, CAS, TOK, everything but exams. So I am very happy, very, very happy about that. So, so, um, what's next? I'm gonna study for exams. I will try to be more organized. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And now, sorry, one moment, because as you can see, the level of organization here is truly top notch. Please wait. Vale, vale. And so, I would like to dedicate this video, can you see him, to a very special person by the name of George Caraindros, who is now officially an adult.
Yeah. Hello.
Say hello to my immense fan base.
I'm actually honored to be featured in this video and for it to be dedicated to me. What do you-
This is the ending, by the way. This is the closing part. Thank you, everyone, so much. It's been an hour and 3 minutes.
Please stick around for part
No
two.
way! And we have another special feature. We have Carlos Rix.
Oh my god.
There's gonna be another part. This is gonna be a trilogy. This is the second part.
This is the second part actually. Caroline, can you please like keep up, buddy?
All right.
Well,
And this
like
is
and
my sister in the
subscribe.
corner.
Hit the
Everyone's featuring.
notification
All right.
bell.
Goodbye, everyone.
Hit the
See you in the next
notification
part.
bell. This video is sponsored
Oh.
by Squarespace. Goodbye.